The girl on the plane fell asleep without a seatbelt. Unexpectedly, it was this that saved the girl's life. As soon as Diana was woken up by a sudden shock, the fighter jet flew through the window. In an instant, huge impact ripped off the passenger plane. DNA was thrown off and fell to the platform. She tried to hold on tight to avoid being sucked out of the fit. At this moment, the plane broke into two parts. Diana, because she didn't wear a seatbelt, so she was thrown slamming. Her husband hastily held her with her hand but did not expect that at this moment, the plane compartment split in two. Diana fell, and the fuselage went into zero gravity. She tried her best to hold on to the hardest part of the plane facing death. Diana was extremely scared, but she still tried to find the last bit of hope to live. In the end, the strong high-speed air blowing over Diana was fortunate to be pushed onto a chair. She didn't think much, immediately fastened her seatbelt. In a panic, Diana kept praying, hoping for a miracle. Then the plane fell like a fallen leaf, landed in the forest, waiting to wake up from a coma. Diana couldn't believe she was still alive, but the steel rod pierced her leg with severe pain, pulling her back to reality. Without much time to think about it and try to hold back the pain with all her strength, she pulled out the steel rod but failed. Yes, but if you don't pull out, she will bleed to death, so by all means. Diana finally pulls out the card. Then she hastily tore off her skirt, carefully wrapping her calf, both to relieve the pain and to stop the bleeding. Diana used socks. She stood up with all her strength and shouted at the rubble around her, hoping that someone would be alive to help, but all that was left was the soulless corpses. Dana, desperately breathing, lying there. The place where the hangar is now. The husband doesn't know where to fall, but suddenly the sound of a helicopter flying over wakes her up. I'm about to be saved. Hurry, go out quickly. Drag my painful leg in panic and run to the open space, trying to call the plane. Who would have thought the helicopter was so loud I couldn't hear the plane that just flew past? Diana once again sinking into despair. At the same time, under the forest, the rescue team is also searching, but because the plane is making three sections very high, the bodies are scattered everywhere in the forest within a radius of bats can it's 50 kilometers. It's very difficult to find Diana. Wallet on the way back to the wreck of the plane, constantly encouraging myself to be saved. Who never thought that when I came back, I was scared by the scene in front of the cabin. The only hope of survival is a ferocious tiger gnawing at her friend's body. Diana crept back little by little to avoid making a sound, but the tiger was still spotted walking towards the girl, looking at the hungry beast. Diana was scared to the bone. She stood frozen in place, not daring to move, thinking that she was dead. At this moment, the helicopter flew past, causing the tiger to run away. Perhaps the tiger had never seen such a strange creature, ever narrowly escaped death. Diana, sitting in the most suitable dress, luck once again came to her, reached out to Diana's side to catch the bear. Long suddenly remembered her husband, did not know where he fell. It is possible that her husband was still alive. Suddenly Dana remembered the words the pilot before departing. This plane flew to the west. In other words, the husband's cabin must have fallen to the east, where I am now. DNA recalls her husband used to show me how to determine the direction with a needle, so Diana took the iron pin and rubbed it for a long time, and her dress finally dropped it on the leaf that could be on the water. Of course, the needle gave her direction. After knowing the direction of her fall, Diana's husband went to the river to take a few sips of water to replenish her energy. She used a plastic bag to store water, then returned to the cabin to collect all useful items for the journey. Dana will find her husband, hope he is still alive. Unexpectedly, the situation is not as simple as she imagined. It is really difficult to cross the sacred forest alone. Poison water is really difficult. Everywhere is murky to the core of the person looking through the endless forest. Diana feels helpless. She has to go and remember her husband to give her hope. Who would have thought that her mood swings so she didn't notice she was walking into the swamp under her wet feet? Diana didn't know very quickly the girl was indented. Number 1 in the mud pit. She tried a tree to pull the injured leg out, but unexpectedly, the more she tried to get out, the deeper she fell in it. In an instant, everyone was bogged down. The girls struggled in despair. Luckily, Diana grabbed a nearby branch thanks to the strong desire to exist. Finally, DNA escaped, but she had to hurry before it got dark, even if she had to cross a huge slope in front of Dia with difficulty and heavy climbing. Suddenly, the girl slipped and rolled down the side. I don't know how long it took her to stop. Her whole body ached, and she didn't have any strength left. It was hard for Diana to get up where she couldn't walk. She would crawl just like that. Dana finally overcame her. Unexpectedly, after walking for a while, the lake appeared in front of him. Suddenly he turned to see her without thinking much. Diana quickly ran away. Despite the pain, her leg was injured, but normal people, how can they escape from the lake just in time when the tiger catches up with Diana and falls? Cow falls into the hole. She is in pain and faints for a long time. The good news is that the creek is very deep, so the tiger doesn't even jump into it and looks at her once, then give up and leave. Like that, Diana once again escaped a life. It is true that heaven did not cut her way of life. Light a bonfire and then lie next to me with gratitude in my suitcase. Fortunately, there is still canned food. Finally able to enjoy a little warmth at the end of the day, Dana's mind still keeps recalling the happy times with her husband. Camping after a night of rest, Dana had recovered a lot. The next morning she climbed to the top of the tallest mountain nearby, hoping to be there to attract the attention of the unsuspecting lifeguard on duty. The rescue helicopter was gone. Fortunately, Dana saw the plane cabin below, in which there must have been a device to call for help. Who would have thought it would be separated from the DNA by a stream? Dana can't swim and then the water is rushing in again, but with the encouragement of her husband, Dana, who endured the wound, determined to go down to the stream for a while to fight with the fierce killing current. She almost died. Fortunately, at the last moment, she clung to the cliff with her breath. In a hurry again, Diana managed to keep the plane's cabin network without any signs of life. The communication equipment here was also completely destroyed, but in the box in the cabin she found a flare gun and 2 bullets. The girl couldn't hide her excitement, shot 1 bullet into the sky. It's a pity the surroundings were too high. No one saw. Diana dared not act rashly. The only way now is to turn back. Such a high mountain was able to attract the attention of search and rescue personnel. Immediately, Dana's wet body continued to climb the hillside. Unexpectedly, the weather in the forest was unpredictable. It was just sunny in a flash. It became very cold. Diana quickly picked up this branch to prepare to light a fire to dry her clothes, and was surprised to find that the lighter with river water could not ignite. Was so desperate, Dana only knew that she had to wear a dead plastic bag on her head and want to use it. It was her own breath to keep warm, but when she lay on the ground, facing the sky, Diana suddenly saw a victim's bag on the tree, so she quickly took the bag down, hoping there was something she needed inside. Notebook with familiar drawings. She was startled to realize that this was her husband's backpack. The woman excitedly looked at the pictures her husband drew for her in the past. They experienced together and became alive. Beautiful moments once again appear. Suddenly now it's raining, making it cold and colder. The backpack says that Diana's husband is nearby, so despite the rain, Diana still tries to find a license. The wound was really too serious. Diana still kept going forward. After a while she found her husband. Diana immediately slid down the hole to hug the man, so she finally found him. You know that I'm sure she'll get through it all. Seeing her husband really safe, Diana excitedly gives him back her wedding ring because it's proof of their undying love. At the same time, the husband is happier than all her moments. Immersed in his warm voice like a comforted child filled with happiness, she promised herself she would never argue with her husband because she was too tired to fall asleep despite the extremely cold rain. At this time the helicopter had stopped searching, but Diana's brother seemed to sense something. He begged the pilot for one last search, so the plane passed through the woods one last time. The roar of the engine woke Diana up. Now she knew the harsh reality. Turned out her husband had lost his life in the plane crash. The happy scene before it was just a fantasy, though painful to the end. Her husband's encouragement in her mind gave her strength. Diana knew her husband wouldn't want to see her give up hope of survival, so she dragged her weary body trying to climb the muddy slope with all her might. Dana finally climbed on the bullet as bright as a heavenly amulet. Indeed, this time the rescue team found her with the help of the DNA lifeguard. Returning to the plane, the girl tried to look out the window as if the husband below was still waving. Maybe it was his last wish before he left was for his beloved wife to live. Dana, tears in her eyes, saying goodbye. Finally, the movie is adapted from a true event that happened in 1981. Dana is still alive to this day. The old woman said she survived thanks to the encouragement of her husband, and will always live happily with her. His last wish: no matter what, always cherish your loved ones. If you are next to me, the movie will end. If you think it's good, please subscribe to my support channel. Bye bye. The last special movie is adapted from a real event that happened in 1981. Dana is still alive to this day. The old woman said that she survived thanks to the encouragement of her husband to always live happily with his last wish. Anyways, always cherish your loved ones. If you guys find it good, please subscribe to my support channel. Bye bye. The last special movie is adapted from a real event that happened in 1981. Dana is still alive to this day. The old woman said that she survived thanks to the encouragement of her husband to always live happily with his last wish. Anyways, always cherish your loved ones. If you guys find it good, please subscribe to my support channel. Bye bye.